more like, don't say that, you're going to jinx us. Things are going well. No, don't you dare say that. Okay, so I guess we could start the story now.
Yeah, now we can start.
I'm ready.
For some of this story to make sense, you need to have the basic idea that in the past, ships did not have engines and motors. Ships going across an ocean or a sea depended totally on the wind. So if the wind did not work, the ship sat there, especially if you have the big ships. There was also no refrigeration or anything, so you had to worry about whether or not you were going to have enough food to eat, how long you were going to be able to do things, how long you were going to be stuck, because no one could control the weather. So this is a story that takes place on a ship that was not moving, and the ship's passengers had just about given all hope. They were stranded on this calm sea for 2 days, and they waited for the wind to pick up, but the ship just kind of rocked back and forth in the water and didn't move. So, Captain, a fine job you've done, a passenger grumbled under his breath. What's that? Stopped the captain. If you have something to say, stand up and say it out loud to everyone. All right then, the man said. I'll say it loud and clear. This is all your fault. A woman stood up and waggled her finger at the both of them. Now, just a minute. It's not his fault we got stuck. At least he's given his share of the food to others the past 2 days, not like you, eating everything in sight. Then another man yelled, leave my boy alone. He's still growing, and if he eats a lot, it's because he needs it. And I suppose you need all that luggage too, another voice called out. It's weighing us down. We should throw it all overboard. The passengers were so busy arguing that they didn't notice something worse was about to happen. Slithering towards the ship was the hugest, slimiest, ugliest sea creature in the world. And oh, she was hungry. Another branch of stranded humans, thought the sea monster as she swam right up to the side of the ship. How lucky for me. She licked her scaly lips and fixed her eyes on an apple barrel on the deck's railing. If I help free them, they'll be so grateful. They'll give me a lot of those delicious red things. Suddenly, a heavy trunk came out of nowhere and struck the sea monster right between the eyes. Woo! She cried. The passengers, hearing the tremendous groan, rushed to find out who or what they'd hit. When they saw the sea monster rubbing her forehead with 4 of her tentacles, they panicked, screaming, and ran from one side of the ship to the other. Sighed the sea monster. What a way to treat me. That's absolutely the last time I try to help humans. She lifted herself high out of the water to take a last look at these unreasonable beings, and the people on board the ship screamed even louder and ran to the other side of the deck. Now look at what you've done, one shrieked. You made it angry by hitting it. What I've done, said another. You're the one who pushed me. You're both to blame, said a third. Oh, God, help us. What a strange bunch these people are, the sea monster muttered as she flopped back into the sea. They treat each other as badly as they treat me. They ask God to save them, and when God sends help, they don't even recognize it. As the sea monster started to swim away, she had a feeling that she was being watched. So she turned around and saw on the edge of the ship was a girl hanging on the railing, a girl who was not yelling or screaming or throwing luggage. It was the captain's daughter, and she snuck away from the argument to get a peek at the monster. They eyed each other for a minute, and then the girl blurted out, "You can talk." Silly girl, of course I can talk, the sea monster said, rolling her big black eyes. And as I was saying, I'd be happy to help your ship move, but I can't stand all that screaming and all those sharp words, so I'm leaving. Wait, the girl said. They're really not so bad. I'm sorry about the trunk hitting you. She reached up and grabbed an apple from the barrel next to her and offered it to the creature. It's the least I can do. Well, all right, said the creature slowly. It's very sweet of you. She leaned forward to open her mouth to take a bite when suddenly, look! The monster is going to eat the captain's daughter. The screaming people ran over to her and yanked her away. Stop, 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 the captain's daughter yelled as hard as she could. The sea monster wasn't going to eat me. She was going to help me. The passengers chuckled. What do you know, little girl? Is that what the monster told you? Yes, she said, struggling to be released. And when she looked out, she could see the sea monster slithering away. Now look, said the girl, you've driven her all away with your fighting. She looked at the apple that was still in her hands. But maybe we can get her to come back. The girl threw the apple with all of her might. It landed in the water in front of the sea monster, who suddenly stopped slithering. The girl hurled more and more apples. And finally, the sea monster turned to face her. She hesitated. Then cautiously, the creature began to swim back towards the ship, gobbling apples as she went. She could have eaten our whole ship if she wanted to, but she didn't, the captain's daughter called out to the passengers behind her. She just wanted apples. Quick, grab some more and help me. The crowd hesitated until the captain stepped forward. He skipped an apple across the waves like a pebble across the pond and watched the creature nervously lick her lips. Passenger leaned towards the railing and said, sighing, oh, poor thing, she's hungry and we frightened her. The sea monster kept her eye on that tempting apple, but stayed where she was. Someone called out, go on, it's all right. Go ahead and eat it. Soon the passengers were throwing armloads of apples to the sea monster, and many more shouted words of encouragement. Finally, the creature's face seemed to relax, and she started swimming towards the ship. Maybe the girl is right, she thought. Maybe they're not so bad after all. When the creature had devoured every apple in the barrel, she dabbed the corners of her mouth and smoothed her ruffled scales. That was very tasty. Thank you, she told the passengers, who were waiting eagerly to see what would happen next. She cleared her throat, bent down behind the ship, and with the top of her head, the sea monster nudged the ship forward, and soon it was heading into a steady breeze. My daughter was right, the captain cried. The sea monster is helping us. Hoist the sails. Without hesitation, everyone got to work. The young men raised the sails. The old women made sure the children were safe. The passengers forgave each other for all the fighting. The captain's daughter wanted to thank the sea monster, but the ship had already sailed far away and the creature was out of sight. I wonder what else sea monsters like to eat, the girl thought. I'll just have to ask the next one I meet. Now, I'm not sure that, thank you. I'm not sure that I would want to meet a sea monster in person, and we didn't have too much suspense about whether or not she was going to be able to eat everybody, but it just shows pulling together and accepting help where you can find it. Really works. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Rabbi Barbara, and I'm going to, while I'm doing that, I'm going to post the Havdalah blessings. All right, Control A, Control C, and back to this. And where's my chat? There we go.
Okay, thank you. And
Yep.
I wanted to share the Women's Rabbinic Network convention, which started last Sunday. They said everyone should have a Havdalah set to start with, but they had sent in a care package everything for Havdalah, the tiniest little cup you've ever seen. And this is the Havdalah candle. And then they put, each thing was wrapped, and then here are it's a cinnamon stick. So I debated about using the candle, but I used a bigger one because there was talking between each of the things, and this wouldn't have lasted very long. But this cup, you can only put out this size candle in it, otherwise forget it. So I don't know where they found such good. It's got 4 wicks in this tiny little candle. See how big it is? It's, you know, like the length of my finger. So I'd never seen this small of a Havdalah candle before. I'm chicken to use it because, again, if we do it for all the blessings, I think it will burn down before we get to the end. So I'm going to use a larger candle, but I wanted to share that with you because when I saw it, I couldn't believe how tiny it was and how cute it was. So this week, everyone here, you'll be able to hear everything. And another time in the future, I'll use some of the slides from last week and some of that music for Havdalah. But again, I don't have my access to my computer tonight, so I don't have access to all of those things to share with you yet. So that will be another week. So we begin with the fruit of the vine. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei ha'esh borei meorei ha'esh. Hopefully I've held it up close enough for you. So for any of you who don't have a candle, you can hold your hands up as well and feel the warmth through the screen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol ben or lechoshech ben yom hashvi'i lesheshet yemei hamaseh. Baruch atah Adonai hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. We take a moment to savor Shabbat a little bit longer, and then when we're ready, put our candles out. There's a little sizzle. And I invite you to unmute to sing Eliyahu Hanavi with me. Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu
Hatishvim,
Eliyahu
Eliyahu,
Eliyahu
Hagiladi,
Hagiladi Bimheira
Yameinu,
Yaakov
Aleinu,
Imashiach David Imashiach
Mashiach
ben
ben David,
Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu Hatishvim
Eliyahu,
Eliyahu
Eliyahu,
Eliyahu
Hagiladi.
We continue to wish one another a good week with Shavua Tov. Shavua Tov, 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 a good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign, joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. And we wish everyone a Shavua Tov, a good week. And we'll be back here the same time, same place next week.